All right, welcome to another edition of The Truth in Sports by M.R. James, but it's listed as www.thetruthinsports.mrj.com. Now, what I'm going to talk about today, some of you are going to start screaming that I don't know what I'm talking about, but you go and look at my track record, go read the blog, you'll know that I know more about sports than most people, even the talking heads that you see on television. Now, right now, I'm going to talk about the Miami Heat in the NBA. We're halfway through the season. All-Star breaks is just a few weeks away. And I'm going to break down exactly what's going to take place in the NBA Finals, but just from one side. I'm going to talk about the Miami Heat. That's a hot topic. Everybody's talking about the Heat and why they will win the NBA championship this year. Now, I'm telling you this from a basketball perspective, not from a fan perspective or anything like that, but just from a pure basketball perspective. One of the things we all know is that defense wins championships no matter what sport we're talking about. And Miami has one of the best defenses in the league. Now, the other thing I want you to look at, and this is going to surprise a lot of people, the main reason that the Miami Heat will win the NBA championship this year is because of their bench. That's right, I said it, their bench. I know some of you right now say, oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about. How can he say they have a bench? Well, I'm going to tell you why the Miami Heat's bench is the best bench in the NBA. You want to know why? It's two words: LeBron James. Now, you may say, well, wait a minute, LeBron's a starter. But if you understand how Spoelstra uses LeBron, you'll understand why I say they have the best bench in the league. And they're only going to get better between now and playoff time. Defense wins championships, and a bench is crucial in the playoffs. Even though rotations are narrowed down to 8 or 9 players, still you need those 8 or 9 players to be extremely strong. Now, I'm going to tell you how Spoelstra uses LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh right now, and how these injuries right now during this part of the season is probably the best thing to happen to the Miami Heat. Why? Because one, LeBron got to play a game without Wade and Bosh, which they won against a weak team, but you got to see how LeBron basically was playing with his Cleveland Cavaliers team that won 60 games. I mean, they could still win with him and 4 role players. The other thing was LeBron being out gave Mike Miller more minutes. He was trying to get his hand back together, get his shooting touch back, but it gave him more minutes. And then when Wade went down and Bosh went down with just LeBron and Mike Miller stepped up to the plate and played the kind of ball that he is capable of playing. No, he's not going to score 30 points every night, but he can get you 20, 18, and 7, something like that, which is huge production when you add that to the big three. Which the big three during the winning streak that they had and the games on the road and all of that, the big three were averaging more than 70 points a game, folks. More than 70 points a game. You put Mike Miller's 15 to 18 points with that, and then the other players as well. On offense, they're unbeatable. And then they play some of the best defense in the league. But let me get back to the point and why they have the deepest bench in the NBA. Is because Eric Spoelstra uses LeBron with his bench players. He'll take Bosh and Wade out of the game at the same time. And if you look at the statistics, when he does that, the Heat are up like plus 10 when they do that. Because LeBron basically gets to run the show, call the plays, find the open man, do all the things that he basically did in Cleveland that made that team successful. But yeah, now you may say, well, he couldn't win a championship with that formula. No, you're not asking the bench to win a championship with that formula. But one of the things we do know is that no other bench will be able to match the production of the Heat's bench. Let me give you an example. If you put LeBron James in the game at small forward, you put Mike Miller in the game at shooting guard, you put Eddie House or Carlos Arroyo, which I would prefer Eddie House. You put Eddie House in at the point guard. And then you have Udonis Haslem in the playoffs back at power forward. And you can take your pick at center, whether it's Dampier, Anthony, Oil Gaskets, because they rotate those guys in. I mean, so it doesn't matter. But that's a five-man team. You hear me? You can take that five-man team. Listen, that five-man team that I just named, Eddie House, Mike Miller, Udonis Haslem, LeBron, and Dampier. That starting five can win you 55 games in the league. But that's the bench, folks. That's the bench. That's the beauty of having those three superstars, is because now LeBron plays with the bench players when they come in, and then they rest LeBron for an extended period of time with just Wade, Bosh, and they may have James Jones or someone else filling in when LeBron's on the bench. But that will be the difference in the playoffs. That lineup, mark my word, that will be the difference in the playoffs and will cause the Miami Heat to win a championship. All of the naysayers that looked at Miami and say they're too small up front, well, none of the big teams have beat them. None of the big teams have beat them. You know, the main team was the Lakers. The Celtics beat them early before they found their groove. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out these next two games they have against the Celtics in the second half of the season, which I pretty much probably would guarantee you'll see a Miami Heat win both of those games, because Boston is not, they're too old, not athletic enough, and they can't stick with this Miami Heat team. So now you've heard it. The reason why the Miami Heat will win the NBA championship, not next year, but this year, is because of the bench, which LeBron leads their bench mob. I know he's a starter on this team, but he also is in there with those bench players. And that's the best bench in the league, folks. And the way Spoelstra will use them will be the difference in the Miami Heat winning it all this year. So now you've heard it from me, The Truth in Sports by MRJ.com. And anything else, I'm not going to talk about anything else today. We're going to leave out on that note. You can go to the website and read some of the other postings and things of that nature. But that's it. From the East, it will be the Miami Heat in the finals, but not only in the finals, but they will win it all. And in the West, it's easy for me to say San Antonio will be coming out of the West right now. But this is what I will tell you. It won't be the Lakers. All right. I'm out.